Edver, Bigfoot and Other Possibilities. If Mom weren't a cryptozoologist, I probably wouldn't be a science nerd. Maybe I would have more friends, play on a team, get invited to parties, and hang out at skate parks instead of crashing into bicyclists. Mom travels the world looking for animals that might not exist and others that were firmly believed to be extinct until they were suddenly rediscovered, becoming Lazarus species, like that dead guy in the Bible who was brought back to life, a miracle. Only these rare creatures have been found by the hard work of stubborn scientists who keep on searching. The Vu Quang ox, for instance, it's a unicorn look-alike in Vietnam and Laos. It was classified as gone, then rediscovered, and now it's endangered again because the forest where it lives is shrinking. So I guess if Mom ever finds Bigfoot or the Yeti or the Loch Ness Monster, she'll have to list them as threatened. She says there are only two possible 21st century attitudes toward nature. 1. Use it before you lose it. 2. Protect it while you can. In an effort to make me love the father I don't remember, she tells me he's a superhero, the perfect example of a wildlife protector sacrificing everything to guard a single mountaintop, along with all the bugs, birds, bats, snakes, and lizards that live there. When she talks about him, her voice suddenly grows a little bit amazed, as if he's a hidden fossil washed to the surface by flash floods. I wish she would talk about me that way instead of urging me to go play outdoors like a kid half my age. She says it doesn't make sense, the way I love science, but don't know how to explore. Mom doesn't make sense either, like right before the Miami airport when she'd told me I'd soon meet someone special, a surprise, but she said it isn't Dad, and then she just got quiet after I demanded details. I've never been a fan of Mom's spontaneous surprises. They're usually embarrassing, upsetting, or worse. Like that time when she made me change schools without warning, or the Christmas when cousins from far away tried to visit, and she refused to open the door, insisting that she needed to work. What will it be this time? I don't even want to make myself dizzy and miserable trying to guess. Lusa, Fragmentology. When poor people hitchhike, each ride is a gathering of attitudes. Some whine about hunger, others share fruit. Many sing, others remain silent or tell wild stories, making up fantastic lies. Abuelo just speaks quietly, privately, trying to prepare me for meeting my brother. Why did the mother I can barely remember choose Edver to go north with her, while leaving me, so far, behind? Two fragments, two children, divided up like leftovers after a big picnic. It happens all the time in Cuba, families breaking up into tiny remnants like feathers carried by wind long after the bird has died. If I'm going to be a broken wing, let me flutter at least once before the magic is lost. Edver, face to face. Beyond the airport's noisy baggage carousel, a skinny old man holds up a sign with Verde, my real name, the word that didn't change until kindergarten in Miami, when everyone made fun of me for being called green. So, I reversed it. Only I couldn't pronounce Edrev, so it turned into Edver. Now, as if he knows the real me, a nerdy kid named for the color of forest trees, Abuelo hugs me fiercely, then grabs my backpack, chattering rapidly, Cuban style, as he leads me out to a blaze of melting asphalt where colorfully painted antique cars are lined up all over the parking lot in gleaming rows like life-size toys for grown-ups. Tu hermana, Abuelo says, shoving me into the arms of a girl so close to my age that we could be twins. Hermana? Sister? As far as I know, I've always been an only child. Trying to pretend that I know what's going on, I sort of hug her, then bob my head like a bouncing ball, barely listening to her questions. All I can do is think, really, Mom? So this was your big surprise? So many lectures about how to behave on this island, but my mother never even bothered to mention that I have una hermana, a sister, my sibling, a mystery, puzzle, riddle. ¿Por qué? Why? Don't I deserve simple truth instead of complicated loca? Genius, Mom. Selfishness? There's only one way to survive this sudden sister shock. Pretend I don't care. Lusa, rediscovered. I can't believe she never told him. I've known about Edward all my life. The ride to our Tia's house in a rattling old taxi now feels like a journey across warped time and empty space, light years of confusion condensed into just a few harsh minutos. This whole city of La Habana is crumbling, fronts of houses painted bright colors, while the backs are like skeletons, open to a blaze of sky wherever parts of walls are missing. When we pass along the edge of the rough gray coral stone Malecon seawall, I stare at teenagers who dance around in groups or sit alone, sadly watching endless waves as the blue water rolls toward Miami. I imagine they're dreaming of travel, just like Mama when she left home without me. My brother absorbs our shared sibling shock by staying busy instead of talking to me. Eyes anxious, fingers nervous, he empties his backpack, exposing gifts of such value that I can hardly believe the dazzling show. Soap, shampoo, lotion, all the things that are so impossible to find here in Cuba. Like a magician revealing a rabbit, Edvard unpacks a microscope, exactly the kind Poppy has always wished for, a dissecting scope that will magnify delicate antennae, mandibles, and wings, exposing all the secrets of insects. Then, Edvard begins to wave his hands around like whirlwinds as he describes in a language neither wholly Spanish nor completely Inglés the best way to slap a blob of dust onto a thin glass slide, then slip it under the amazing microscope's magical lens so that we can detect a whole spider the size of a mosquito's eye. Increíble. And yet, I believe him, just as I believe in this impossibly marvelous reality of powerful binoculars that my brother hands to me, declaring that they're a special gift just for me, from our mother, even though from his eyes I can tell she said nothing about me. Nada. Edvard, Sister Shock. At our friendly aunt's crumbling house, I demonstrate biological detective work using the dissecting scope as I try to think of easy ways to play games of amusement with this mysterious puzzle of a long lost, instantly rediscovered Lazarus sister. I soon learn that dust mites don't impress Lusa, so I yank a dark strand from my head and sit down to show clear differences. My hair is curly, hers straight. Maybe we're not related after all, but we do have the same reddish-brown skin, black eyes, fierce glares, and reversed names. Lusa started as Azul, blue. Leave it to Mom to introduce us by letting us figure out that our own version of truth. Adopted? Half? Foster. We seem so close in age, but Abuelo and his sister, our tia, a great aunt, both insist that Lusa and I are only one tiny, barely noticeable year apart. That makes her 12, practically a teenage stranger. I'll definitely need this microscope to find any bizarre little ways that we might turn out to be similar enough to ever hope for some sort of unusual family disaster friendship. Or do I even want to understand Lusa and why Mom left her? Would it be easier to just pretend that this girl is a stray quirk of nature? Like one of those half unicorn, half human centaurs in my dragon game? Lusa, microscopic. I don't care about peering at a sliver of dark curl from Edvard's messy bird's nest head. He's only 11. The difference between his age and mine is like the gap between believing in rabbits that spring from magicians' hats and knowing that I can create my own form of power. Lo real maravilloso. A style my teacher calls magic realism. Art, sculpture, architecture, dreams made visible, shapes molded from mud, trash, junk, all sorts of wasteful ugliness turning beautiful simply from contact with creative human hands. My fingers and palms hungry for meaning, especially when this ordinary world makes no sense. So while Tia coats her face with a gift of lotion, and Abuelo peers into the treasured microscope, I gaze out a window with these new binoculars, feeling even more alone than before I met my wealthy hermano americano, with his fancy presents and luxurious sports shoes. Those basketball shoes he wears probably cost as much as Abuelo's entire annual retirement pension, $6 each month. And 6 times 12 months makes $72 per year, or as we Cubanos like to joke, $72. Dolores. Painful sorrows, not dólares, not money. Just a trick of spelling, but it makes a huge difference. This view from my aunt's window is almost as tragic as my disappointing brother. Tumbled balconies, crumbled sidewalks. On both edges of the jaggedy pothole streets, banana and avocado trees send powerful roots down into broken concrete, where tiny rootlets grip slim cracks and split the hardness, forcing the city world to make room for natural growth. On a peeling garden wall, someone has painted a mural of upside-down flower pot hats worn by people who don't seem aware that jungle vines spill out over the brims, with coiled tendrils clinging to eyes and ears making everything green, as if nature is reclaiming lost territory. The art festival must have started. Someday soon, maybe my trash statues will be included. All my tiny traces of hope emerging from mosaics of broken things, ugly things, microscopic shards of possibility.